Today we're going to talk about my experience and what I learned when I went to visit the Jay-Z exhibit in Brooklyn that happened this year. I think it ended December 4th. Hopefully you got a chance to see it. If you didn't though, I'm going to share some of the key takeaways that I got from my experience visiting that exhibit. What's going on, family? We are officially recording the very last Financial Freedom Fast Lane of 2023. Consistency is not an easy thing to do, right? Like, even though the show is just once a week, like, as you can imagine, all the things that happen, all the things that can happen, like, it's very easy to miss a week. This was one of those weeks that I was gonna miss, right? Like, it's the last week of the year. I don't have a haircut, as y'all can see. I'm scruffy. And I'm like, you know what? I could tell the story of, hey, I'm taking the last week of the year off, or hey, let's reflect on the top financial freedom fast lane moments of the year and just have my editor chop up different clips, which would have been a great idea. Darn. Instead of doing that, I decided to show up, right? And close out the year strong with this episode of Financial Freedom Fast Lane. All right, so the first takeaway from visiting the exhibit, the Jay-Z exhibit, was never let them put you in a box, right? So ironically, I got a chance to visit this, I think, a few weeks before our inaugural award show, which was insane, right? And even doing that is something that isn't traditional related to my career trajectory, right? Like, I'm a financial advisor. I'm supposed to be behind the desk, crunching numbers, managing portfolios, and that's kind of where it stops, right? So to go from that to saying, you know what, I want to have an award show, right? Celebrating helping people to build their first 1 million in net worth, decreasing the wealth gap by $100 billion, right? That's not something that most advisors would do. And if I listened to naysayers or what most people had to say, I probably wouldn't have done it. I probably would have fit in the box, right, of doing what most advisors do, continuing to just, stay behind a desk, crunch numbers. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but like, I knew that there was more for me, right? And I had this quote that I say now is, don't let them put you in a box when you're trying to stay in your bag, right? Because at the end of the day, right, you have these visions, you have these desires, you have these ideas that you want to bring to life. And just because it might not make sense to somebody else or might not fit neatly within the box that is your normal career path, doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, right? So don't let people put you in a box. So how did I learn that from the exhibit? So Jay-Z has done a lot of different things. Obviously, he started out as a rapper. Imagine if he just stayed in the lane of rap. He wouldn't have launched his own champagne. He wouldn't have created his own clothing line. He even had a fragrance, right? Shout out to Equity. I have my own fragrance, y'all. Speaking of not being put in a box, what financial advisor do you know has his own signature scent, the official scent of wealth? You can get it today at shop.melaninmoney.com and grab it today. Equity, it's amazing. We'll put the link in the show notes. But yeah, so Jay-Z had his own fragrance. And even seeing that was a reminder for me, like, don't let people box you in. He has his own streaming company. He has his own venture capital firm. There's so many different things that he's doing that's so far outside of the scope of rap, it's not even funny. Now, why do I bring this up on Financial Freedom Fastlane? Well, one of the quickest ways to achieve wealth is obviously diversifying the ways in which you build it, right? You probably heard me say the quote, wealth is made through concentration. It's preserved through diversification, right? So Jay-Z got really good at being a world-class rapper. That attracted a lot of opportunities for him, and he was able to diversify his wealth in a lot of different ways. It didn't mean that he had to have a bunch of different hustles himself. It means that he was able to leverage his likeness. It means that he was able to leverage his capital to go out and buy additional income streams, right? So don't let people put you in a box. The second major takeaway that I got from visiting this exhibit was the importance of documenting this journey, the journey, right? Like, in this museum, there were so many artifacts, from CDs to actual cassette tapes to trophies from awards that he's won to clothing to magazine covers, like just you name it, right? The list goes on. And we live in this digital age where you can document a lot online, right? You can take the picture, have the Instagram post, have the reel, create the blog, but there's something different about having tangible artifacts from different moments in time, because it's like literally freezing time. And a picture does a decent job of this because you can kind of imagine, people say like a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So yeah, you can kind of see the time frame, see the attire, see the setting, see how the person looked in that era. But it's something different with being able to see something physical, like, oh, this literally it was what was created during this time, like a cassette tape, like a CD, right? These things are like unheard of now, right? So to be able to see like this being a part of the legacy and the tangible item, a tangible product that can really take you back to that moment in time and really freeze time to show you like what life was like, what technology was like during that time period. I think it's just something really, really special about that. So even me now, like my events, like we have these fire recaps, right? You can see everything that happened, but like I want to make sure that we're keeping pieces of it, right? So our trip to Jamaica, we had these custom drink stirrers, we had these signs, we had these pillows. Like one day I might have a Melanin Money museum, right? Or a Melanin Money exhibit, right? And what's going to make it relevant is being able to showcase those items. Sure, movies go back in time and they create like things that happened in that time period, right, to resemble what it looked like, but it's something different about having the actual thing from that era, right? So I'm just encouraging you to document the journey, keep tangible artifacts of the things that actually transpired during that time period, because it can be really, really dope to document it and have access to it years to come. Another key takeaway that I got from this exhibit is that it is okay to evolve, right? How you start is not necessarily how you're going to finish. I think oftentimes in business and in life, we think of things as so finite of like, if I start this, I have to do it forever. Or we hear quotes like start with the end in mind. And I'm not saying that there isn't merit to that thinking, right? Because I believe in that from a business perspective. But what I also believe is it's okay just to create sometimes, right? So for example, I created a fragrance that launched a week ago, and I think our first order quantity was like 500 bottles. If I sell out of all 500 bottles and never make another bottle again, my legacy is still cemented that I created my own signature fragrance, right? If I don't sell it for the next 20, 30 years, it doesn't matter, right? It's still a part of my legacy. If I only sell half of the bottles, right, it's not going to change the fact that we'll be able to go back in time, right, and have that as a part of history, a part of my legacy, and say, did you know that George created the official scent of wealth, right? Like, that's powerful. So I say that to say, if part of what's holding you back from creating is the fact that you feel like, well, man, I don't know like every single step or how this is going to evolve or what this is going to look like, I encourage you to do it anyway. I encourage you to remember that like when the facts change, so can you. Like it might not evolve into anything more than what it is right now. And that's okay if you took an idea out of your head, right, and you brought it to life. That in and of itself is success. Jay-Z had a fragrance. He's not selling that fragrance anymore. Jay-Z had a clothing line. He's not making those clothes anymore, but it doesn't change the fact that that was a part of his legacy, and ultimately something that we'll always remember him for. All right, my next takeaway was the power of exploration and exposure, which goes back to like just like not being put in a box and not feeling like everything has to be like so well defined with the person that you are like right now, right? Or that people are more realistically the person that people know you for, because you are a dynamic human being, right? But people might know you for investing or might know you for dance or might know you for whatever it is. And the thing that you want to bring to life might not necessarily, again, fit neatly in that. But what I've realized is that exploration and exposure lead to expansion, right? When you get exposed to different things, it opens your mind up to a different way of thinking, which then opens a door for a different type of thing that you can bring to life, right? So if you only stay in your lane, like if I only went to financial advisor conferences, I might not create some of the things that I'm creating right now. But because I've learned in other areas, expanded my horizon, not stayed in my lane, it's allowed me to be exposed to different things that have expanded my palette, have expanded my vision, and expanded my realm of what's possible. So I encourage you in 2024 to step out of your comfort zone, try new things, right? Do something that's completely unrelated to your current business or current career trajectory, and you'd be surprised at the overlap or the inspiration that you get from doing something completely different, right? So try to just like step outside of that norm. Pattern interrupt is what I like to call it. And I guarantee you that that will spark some innovation. It'll spark some creativity, and it'll reignite your passion for things that maybe you got stuck on because you kept doing it the same old way. And the last takeaway that I got from this exhibit was greatness is a universal language, right? It's no secret that, Jay-Z is a person of color, he's a black man, he's a businessman. But when you go to that museum, you saw people from all walks of life just admiring, appreciating, and respecting what he was able to create, right? And so I say that to say that when it comes to greatness, it is respected across the board, right? Greatness is a universal language. So if you really want to have more impact, you really want to have more reach, you really want to for your message and your legacy to be widespread, focus on being great, right? It's a reason why an artist can go to Europe or go out of the country, go somewhere they've never been before. And as a result, right? As a result, they can ultimately still impact or have tens of thousands of people show up for their concert, right? It's because, right, greatness is a universal language. So I encourage you in 2024, ask yourself, what am I currently world-class at? Or what am I working to be world-class at? Because if you can do that, that is going to give you the leverage to be able to do more, right? The reason why Jay-Z was able to venture into fashion, venture into fragrances, be able to have equity in a champagne company, be able to create, I think that's Duce right there, create a liquor company, is because it's like his name and his likeness alone for how great he is will be transferable in people being willing to accept these other business ventures, right? So ask yourself, what am I willing to be great at? And what doors can that open by doing so, right? I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. And most importantly, I hope that you guys have enjoyed Financial Freedom Fastlane as a series in 2024. Thank you for building with me. Thank you for growing with me. As I've said in previous episodes, we're going to continue to evolve. Most of the episodes have been me sitting behind this desk and the microphone, sometimes in a hotel room, sometimes by a pool, because I'm just trying to be consistent. But as this continues to grow, I'm super excited for how the framework of this show will evolve, what we'll be able to discuss, what we'll be able to showcase, maybe even have some guests on, right? But thank you for choosing me. You could be listening and watching anything in the world. And so for you to take out a few minutes of your day to tap in with this segment, it means the world. So please do me a huge favor, like this episode, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. It's very easy to do. Leave a comment. Let me know what you want to hear from me in 2024. Let me know what you're working to be world-class at in 2024. And most importantly, as always, remember that freedom is for sale if you're willing to pay the price.